Good morning, children. We have started our lesson number 7, Energy Flow in an Ecosystem from Science Part 2. And in our previous lectures, we have learned about food chain, food web, and the energy pyramid. Do you remember, children? Okay. So, in today's video, we shall be learning about Biogeochemical Cycle. So let's begin. Children, though the energy flow in an ecosystem is in one way, the flow of nutrient is cyclical. All organisms need nutrients for their growth. We need to study the various components in the given figure and explain the biogeochemical cycle in our own words. Okay? Children, the cyclic flow of nutrients within an ecosystem is called the biogeochemical cycle. Got it? Nutrients necessary for the growth of organisms are continuously transferred from abiotic to biotic factors and biotic to abiotic factors within an ecosystem. This cycle operates continuously through the medium of biosphere formed by lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere. The recycling of biological, geological and chemical sources of nutrients in this process is a complex process, and it depends upon the level of energy which is transferred in an ecosystem. What are the types of biogeochemical cycle? Let's see. Gaseous cycle. An accumulation of the main abiotic gaseous nutrient material is found in Earth's atmosphere. It includes nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water vapor, etc. So this is gaseous cycle. Then is sedimentary cycle. An accumulation of the main abiotic nutrient material is found in soil, sediments and sedimentary rocks, etc. of the earth. So, it includes soil components like iron, calcium, phosphorus, etc. So, these are the two types of biogeochemical cycles. The gaseous cycle is a speedier cycle than the sedimentation cycle. For example, if carbon dioxide has accumulated in an area, it is quickly dispersed with the wind or absorbed by plants. Climatic changes and human activities seriously affect the speed, intensity, and equilibrium of these cycles. Hence, various aspects of these cycles are intensively studied nowadays. Understood, children? Okay. Children, do you know this? The cycle of gases and the sedimentary cycle cannot completely separate from each other. For example, nitrogen is present in the form of gas in the atmosphere and in the form of compounds like nitrogen dioxide in the soil and sediments. Similarly, carbon occurs in abiotic form mainly in the coal, granite, limestone, etc. in the Earth's crust, and in the form of carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere. Generally, carbon is present in plants and in animals for a much shorter duration than it is in the coal. Okay? Moving to the next is the carbon cycle. The circulation and recycling of carbon from the atmosphere to the living organisms and after their death back to the atmosphere is called the carbon cycle. Abiotic carbon atoms are circulated and recycled into biotic form, mainly through photosynthesis and respiration. Hence, the carbon cycle is one of the important biogeochemical cycles. Are you getting me, children? Good. Plants, they convert carbon dioxide and carbohydrates by the process of photosynthesis, isn't it? Similarly, they produce carbon compounds like proteins and fats too. Herbivores, they feed upon plants. Carnivores feed upon herbivores. In this way, biotic carbon is transported from plants to herbivores. Isn't it, children? We have learned this. And then from herbivores to carnivores and from carnivores to the apex consumers. So the main process in the carbon cycle is 6CO2 plus 12H2O. In the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, it gives us C6H12O6 plus 6H2O plus 6O2. That is, oxygen is released in the environment. So, this C6H12O6 plus 6O2, okay, when they break down in mitochondria of the cell, it gives us 6CO2, that is carbon dioxide gas is released, plus 6H2O plus energy is formed. Eventually, after death, all types of consumers are decomposed by decomposers like bacteria and fungi, and carbon dioxide is released again into the atmosphere and is used again by living organisms. In this way, carbon is continuously passed on from one living organism to another living organism. After the death of living organism, carbon goes to the atmosphere and is again taken up by living organisms. Understood, children? Children, do you know this? That carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere through abiotic processes like burning of fossil fuels and woods and forest fires and also volcanic activity. Oxygen is released into the atmosphere by the biotic process of photosynthesis and carbon dioxide through respiration. The equilibrium of oxygen and carbon dioxide gases in the atmosphere is maintained by plants. Now children, the carbon cycle is very effective in the temperate region. Do you know why it is so? Even though the carbon content on the earth is constant, there is a rise in temperature due to carbon dioxide. Now, we need to identify the relation between carbon in the air and rise in the atmospheric temperature. Children, moving to the next topic is oxygen cycle. Oxygen forms 21% of the atmosphere. It is also present in the hydrosphere and lithosphere. Circulation and recycling of oxygen within the biosphere is called the oxygen cycle. This cycle, it also includes both the biotic and abiotic components. Oxygen is continuously produced as well as used up in the atmosphere. Oxygen is highly reactive and it is readily react with other elements and compounds. As oxygen is found in various forms like molecular oxygen, that is O2, water H2O, carbon dioxide CO2, inorganic compounds, etc. The oxygen cycle of the biosphere is extremely complex. Oxygen is released in the process of photosynthesis. We know this. Whereas it is used up in the processes like respiration, combustion, decomposition, corrosion, rusting, etc. Understood, children? Children, most microorganisms use oxygen for respiration. Such microbes are called aerobes. Microbes which do not need oxygen for respiration are called as anaerobes. Oxygen is important for the synthesis of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. It is also used in various chemical reactions. Ozone, that is O3, is produced from oxygen through various atmospheric processes. Understood, children? Let's move to the next topic, that is nitrogen cycle. Children, can you tell me what is meant by nitrogen fixation? Yes. Which microbes brings about the process of nitrogen fixation? Let's see. Nitrogen forms 78%, that is the maximum portion of the atmosphere. It is necessary for the maintenance of the cycle of nature. The circulation and recycling of nitrogen gas into the form of different compounds through various biotic and abiotic processes in nature is called the nitrogen cycle. All organisms participate in the nitrogen cycle. It is an important component of proteins and nucleic acids. As compared to the other elements, it is inactive and does not easily combine with other elements. Most organisms cannot use the free form of nitrogen. Let's see the importance processes of nitrogen cycle. First is nitrogen fixation. Here, conversion of nitrogen into nitrates and nitrites through atmospheric, industrial and biological processes. Then comes ammonification. It means release of ammonia through decomposition of dead bodies and excretory waste of organisms. The next process is nitrification. It means the conversion of ammonia into nitrite and then nitrate. The last one is denitrification. It means the conversion of nitrogen compounds into gaseous nitrogen. Have you all understood, children? With this, we have finished our lesson number 7, Energy Flow in an Ecosystem. I hope, children, every one of you must have understood this lesson. Kindly watch the video attentively and then read the lesson for better understanding. We shall see you in our next lecture with a new topic. Till then, children, take care of yourself, eat healthy, stay home.